Epoxy garage floors. Everybody wants them, but is it actually possible to do it yourself? Let's find out. Okay, so clearly we have a lot of stuff. I don't know about you, but every tutorial I've seen to do your garage floors with epoxy, the garage is empty. That makes it a lot easier, but I've got giant tools for woodworking and a ton of stuff for the family. So how are we gonna handle this? We're gonna talk about that, but first, we need to clear this space out. The smaller tools went down to our basement to make this step easier, so we just moved out the big tools. And yes, that is a brand new one that's not even on the market yet. You'll see more of that one soon. There's no shortage of wood in this shop. Speaking of which, anyone know a urologist looking for a side table? Did you see it? Is this how you want to spend your Saturday?
Sure is.
Okay, so clearly we got all of our stuff out of the garage. We've got it swept up, blown out, and this is the next step. As you can see right here, we've got some imperfections in our concrete, and it kind of goes all the way down, and honestly, it's scattered throughout the garage. So how we address that is with a patch. There are two different options from Stone Coat. You can go with the gel version, which is a little bit more for the DIYer and takes longer to set up. That means it gives you more time to work with it, right? So that might be more manageable. They also have a pro patch version, which cures like super quick. And the nice thing about this is that you can grind this within 30 minutes. If you haven't been made aware yet, the prep work for doing epoxy floors in your garage is extremely important. You have to have a clean surface. You have to do any patching. If you have cracks, you gotta fill them. Don't make it weird. And then we'll be ready for grinding. We need to abrade the surface. That's gonna help that epoxy really bind. All right, we're gonna attempt the pro patch option. Clearly, I look like a pro. Wish me luck. So this is a 1-to-1 ratio. So we're gonna start with part A and I'm gonna mix up a pint total. So I need 8 ounces of the part A. Clearly that's very precise. This is gonna go well. I don't have much time to mix and I don't have much working time, so it's gonna be fine. I definitely went a little over 8. Go a little over 16. Okay, clock's on. I don't think this takes much to mix. They do say to make sure you scrape the sides. Dear Jesus, please let me be doing this right. Really? That guy should have his license by now. He's flown over a couple times. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say this is mixed. Truthfully, I have no idea. But I feel like we're up against the clock, so I'm just gonna go. But it seems more liquidy than I thought it would. This was my first time working with this kind of epoxy, and I really didn't know what to do. So this clip is actually sped up at twice the speed that I did the pouring, trying to spare you guys some watch time. I moved very slowly, too slowly, in fact, and you will see what happens next when you don't move quickly enough through the process. But if your garage floor is like me and it has a lot of dimpling, just dump it out and spread it on nice and thin. It'll work out pretty well. So here I am, just a regular Joe Schmo, trying it out to see if it's possible. I can definitely feel it starting to gel, so I better stop talking to you and get to work. Ooh, it's having its exothermic reaction. The bottle's getting warmer. All right, go wider. Let's turn it into, oh, we're already past 2. We're past 2, and I think it's, oh crap, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's gonna happen, but this is hot. So the exothermic reaction is definitely happening. Yeah, this is hard. So this is a perfect example of what it's like working with the pro patch. Maybe I'm not a pro. Yeah, you gotta work quick, guys, because this is, I'm actually a little scared. I don't know what's gonna happen next with that, but it's gonna be fine. maybe we'll move on to the gel version and grind tomorrow. All right, that heated up quickly, but I am really determined to make this pro work for me because I do have the concrete grinder rented for the entire weekend, so that's great. But I want to get going on this project, so this is going to help me do that. So I'm going to mix up a little bit less and mix a little bit less, not mix for as long, and I know I have 2.5 minutes. We're going to do it. Okay, 1 to 1, let's do. Luckily you can pour that first part and just sit pretty because until they're mixed together, there's no issue. Give myself 10 seconds maybe. 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now I know I've got about 2 minutes and 15 seconds before this gets too hard to use. A ton of dimpling here. Spread it out. If you got a ton of dimpling, just keep spreading it out. All right, keep going, or you're gonna lose it. It's already starting to gel up more. Fun challenge. No pressure. Spread it out. When in doubt, spread it out. Mitch has all these fun sayings on their YouTube channel. I'm gonna get some of his little catchphrases going. Come on now. We're so close. Dude, I think we got it. Yes. Okay. Better than the first time. Improvement. We are improving. Faux show. Yeah. I'm a pro DIYer, DIY pro. It's like an expert, but like 50 levels below expert. Time to get grinding in here. We've had a little bit of excitement in the neighborhood because we've had some stray dogs we've had to deal with, but we're back on track. These are the diamond blades that are magnetic and fit just like that. This rental does come with an attachment port for dust collection. They do offer a rental, but it's like another $100 and some, so we're just hooking up our shop vac. It has a little pre-filter bag over the filter to kind of be like a HEPA filter on a budget. So we just taped it to the port to work for our purposes, and hopefully it does, but we'll find out. Thumbs up if you're ready. There we go. Ready for takeoff. Check me out. I'm about to run this single disc concrete grinder from Sunbelt Rentals with total confidence.
with some confidence. Honestly, though, it is pretty easy to maneuver. You just got to get the feel for it. It is a little bit easier to use if you have someone walking behind you to kind of manage the cord and the hose from the shop vac. And we discovered it is really important to empty that shop vac about every 30 minutes. For us, that was basically after finishing one square of this 550-ish square foot garage. The dust really does start to kick up more when your shop vac isn't pulling in anymore, which makes sense. It's a very dusty process, but if you can wear a good respirator and empty your shop vac about every 30 minutes, you'll be in good shape.
It's dusty.
We finished up the process of using the concrete grinder, gave the garage an extremely thorough cleaning, and got all of our belongings moved back in, but just on one half of the garage, because that is actually the trick to being able to do epoxy floors when you own a ton of stuff. You got to do one half at a time. So let's get that process going.
All right, it's a new day. We've already abraded the surface of the concrete, and now it's time to start working on the primer coat. So this is a part A and a part B we're gonna get to mixing. We're going to treat the perimeter first, and then we're gonna try to just ribbon it out. Probably use a squeegee to disperse it so it doesn't all get sucked up into the roll right away, and then we'll back roll it. So here we go. Like maple syrup.
We did wear respirators while mixing and initially while working with the product, but I'm pretty sure the VOCs are on the low end and it was 90 degrees, so those respirators came off pretty quick. But I will warn you, you're about to witness two people who have really never done an epoxy floor before, so do not do what you see us doing necessarily. This is just what we did do. This is not a tutorial. My buddy Nick was in town. He helped me lay out the primer, and I was supposed to have two pairs of spike shoes, but that didn't work out. And I should have already had the shoes on at this point, so learn from me what not to do. Don't start laying out the primer without your little special epoxy spike shoes on because they are 100% necessary. And a very important lesson we learned here on this first half of the garage is to dump that primer out. After it is mixed in the pot, do not leave it sitting in there and only put out a little bit at a time. Go ahead and ribbon out the entire bucket's worth of primer because it doesn't set up as fast when it's not just sitting in the pot. Ours was left in the bucket way too long, and so by this point in the video, you're seeing it becoming way too thick and sticky, and it was difficult to spread. So definitely ribbon the whole thing out right away. Without a doubt, this is the most fun part of the whole process, throwing the flakes. We were going for full flake coverage here, so I'm grabbing as much as I can fit in my hands and throwing it high up into the air to allow gravity to help me out by spreading the flakes evenly across the floor. If you've ever watched one of the videos from Stone Coat, they say, feed the chickens. So your girl has never lived on a farm before, but I was trying my best to feed those chickens. The flake color that I chose was called Quicksilver. It has gray, black, white, and just a little bit of tan in it. I thought that would warm up those colors, but I still didn't really want any of that primer tan color showing through, so I just went absolutely nuts with those flakes, and I think it turned out looking fantastic.
All right, let me catch you up. So we have all of our stuff on one side of the garage. We've already done the priming and the flaking on this side. It's time to do the top coat. Before that though, we have to get to scraping. So when you lay out the flake, there's a lot of excess, and believe me when I say excess because I went absolutely wild with this flake because I wanted it to be a very full coverage. So First things first, we're gonna scrape off the excess flake.
Please take it from me. If you care about your knees, buy yourself a scraper bar with a long handle. I'm going to link one in the description that I wish I would have bought because I was very in shape this summer, and doing this scraping in like a squat position, that tuckered me out.
Here we go, time for the top coat. Here's what we're working with today. We've got the 2-to-1 ratio stone coat polyaspartic top coat. So you need to use this entire thing and this entire thing to do about 300 to 400 square feet. I'm also gonna throw in a little of their non-skid additive. I'm going a little light on this because I want to be able to broom up sawdust really easily, but I still want a little bit of grit so that I have some traction. So we have already weighed that out and we're gonna get to mixing. The top coat has a little bit longer working time than the primer does, so you got like 40 or 50 minutes after mixing, and you mix for about 2 to 3 minutes.
With our non-slip additive mixed in, it's now once again time to be on the clock. This clock is a little more casual than the primer one, and as we learned earlier in the process, it's great to just ribbon the material out at the beginning and then spread it out. And we actually learned later in the process that it's even better to use your scraper to spread the top coat out in a very thin coat before doing your back rolling. So that's a hot tip. Definitely look into trying that. And when you're using your roller, you want to go all in one direction the full length of your garage and then switch the direction and go front to back. That way you'll get a really even coverage. That night, I left the garage door cracked to allow the epoxy to dry, and I was not prepared for the thunderstorm that hit us that night. It was 3 a.m. and I had to check on the floor like it was a newborn baby. From what I could tell, everything was okay, but I wanted to go outside and check the small portion of the floor that extends beyond the garage door because it was definitely thundering and lightninging, and raining cats and dogs. So I wanted to make sure everything was okay and see if I could just go ahead and shut the garage door. This is one thing that I would love the company to speak on. Is it good to leave the garage door cracked at night when you're allowing this part of the drying process to happen? Or as long as it's dry to the touch, a couple hours after it has been applied, is it okay to go ahead and just put the garage door down? These are questions I would have liked to have answers to before I started, but it did end up working out just fine. When I inspected the floors the next morning, they looked awesome, but did have a couple air bubbles. I'm not sure if that was because of the storm and the wind, or if that was because of an application process error. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. But either way, it was time to continue on. We moved everything over from that first side over to the finished side now that it had had time to cure, and it was time to begin the process all over again. Does it look familiar? Yeah, it's because you've already seen it. So we won't show you too much of doing the same exact thing, but here we are again. We did another cleaning on this side before we laid down the primer, squeegeed it out to the best of our abilities, ribboned it all out right away instead of leaving it in the bucket, used the roller to back roll it to get some really nice even coverage. I tried to be conscientious of how I was doing this, tried to go a little thinner with the product on this half of the garage than I did on the first half, hoping for no air bubbles and an even better result. But to be honest, I was very happy with the first half, so where can you go wrong?
I got both sides flaked. This side's done. Obviously, stuff is on it. This side just got primed and flaked.
There you have it. Some people fill in their expansion gaps because they want one seamless floor. I used mine as a strategic stopping point. These expansion gaps allowed me to hide my seam, and of course you can see the top coat here because it's still wet and drying. But overall, this strategy was incredible. I was able to do half of my garage at one time using those expansion gaps as my natural stopping point, and it totally disguised that I only did half at a time. I highly recommend doing it this way. It worked out great for me, as you can tell.